You can't have partnership. The righteous can't have partnership with the lawless. And that's not me calling Trump the most righteous person in the world, but anybody looking at this knows that Alvin Bragg and the Democratic and the leftists are lawless. They don't believe in fair justice, equal treatment under the law. They don't believe in that.
There's really nothing wrong with deriving wisdom from spiritual and religious texts, because there's definitely good things in the Bible in terms of how to go about your life, how to love one another, friendship, things like that. But when you use it for political purposes, especially with Donald Trump, the Republican Party, anything along those lines, that's when you really kind of start to lose me. It'd be different if, maybe somebody was going through a really hard time in their life, and then a friend or a family member was like, this reminds me of the book of Job, when God was really testing Job and he had everything taken away. But Job kept his faith in life and kept pursuing the path forward, and things ended up working out. That's when Bible verses or context from religious books are useful. But here you're talking about, the righteous can't be in bed with the lawless. Donald Trump, and he had to throw out that caveat to say, I'm not saying Donald Trump is totally righteous. Donald Trump isn't righteous at all. Donald Trump has been a crook his entire life. He's been ripping people off. Oh, I mean, is that godly? Cheating on his wives, is that godly? Being married multiple times, is that godly? All of the things that he says publicly, the lies, the scandals, somehow that's righteous, but the Democrats are of Satan. It's just like, okay, Jason.
You got to come out from among them and separate. That's what God instructed. And that's where I think we actually are, Tucker, is these guys are so far removed from the truth, so far removed from any of the values that made this country great. We can't really have partnership with them. And my mindset went to secession, that we have to separate. We have to come out from among them. They're so unrighteous. They're so unclean that, finding common ground is impossible.
And it's not just the Republican Party that does this. I mean, we all know plenty of people who on their social media or when they're talking to people on a surface level, they're always talking about Jesus and how they're a man of God and how God has transformed them in a variety of ways. But behind closed doors, they are abusive, they cheat, they lie, they take advantage of people. It's all fake. Now, obviously, that's not always the case, but when you're somebody like Jason Whitlock or a Republican operative who overlooks, things like, not being in favor of the minimum wage, not really wanting to do anything about our healthcare system, not wanting to strengthen our social safety nets, that's when you kind of start to say that these people aren't genuine. Obviously, we know this because according to the scriptures that these people are always referencing, Jesus was about love. Jesus was about being friends with those who were outcast from society. Jesus is about forgiveness. Jesus is about empathy.
I don't see a pathway forward for those of us that respect America's founding, have traditional values, have a faith in God. We got to separate. And I don't care how it's done, but I just don't see a way to coexist with people this far removed from truth.
And the Republican Party, the culture of the GOP, just absolutely does not reflect any of those values that, once again, anybody can benefit from. It's very good for people to be forgiving, to be empathetic, to not judge others just because of what you see on the surface. All of these things are valuable, but of course, they are not emulated by the Republican Party whatsoever. And then, of course, after we talk about 2 Corinthians and we talk about God and how the righteous just can't be in bed with the wicked, then we get to secession. And of course, we need to split the country apart basically because gay people exist and because trans people exist. I mean, essentially, that's what he said.
And we've seen the slippery slope. Now it's drag queens reading books to kids. Now it's taking kids to drag queen shows. Now it's mutilating kids and infecting them with gender dysphoria and using it as an excuse to cut off their breast or cut off their penis. You can't have peace.
This isn't what God intended, and it's so hilarious too, because Republicans and conservative commentators are always talking about Greek society, Roman society, and how basically they were the pillars of the West. But, they were extremely gay too. Look at what the soldiers were doing. Being gay was just kind of like not even a second thought to people back then. Like it was just whatever. It was just normal. But these are the people that Republicans emulate, while at the same time saying, oh, we got to secede because, there's gay people out here, men getting married, women getting married, men becoming women, women becoming men. What the hell's going on here? And it's just like, y'all are this concerned about stuff like that, but you're not concerned about, again, healthcare, education, things like that, that'll actually make a difference for everyday people. You're just homophobic and ridiculous.